who made God? Who made the concept of the eternal, the ever-present, the omnipotent, the creator as something external to us? We cannot create from a place of truth, power, confidence, love, peace, joy if we don't believe ourselves to be the creator of our own reality. And if someone or something else is creating our reality for us, we are a victim to it. And if we believe that we are not God, if we believe that idea that God is something that is separate, that the resource for our life and our peace, our own inner joy of life, is something that is external to our own resources, then it will perpetuate suffering because we constantly need something to feed off of or to acquire or amass from the external environment. Because if we don't think that we are the origin of our experience, if we are the facilitator of our own reality, then our reality will be facilitated by a higher intelligence. All intelligence is organized underneath the highest intelligence, the higher one, the one that is above it. So if you are not organizing your own life in the way that you want to, and to an extent you are conscious and unconscious of this, but if you effectively are not organizing your life the way that you want to, then a higher intelligence is organizing your life for you. You're on automatic pilot. That's what the ego is. The ego is a substitute caretaker because you are not aware, you are not present to the existence and the palpableness of the creator, of God, of eternity, of immortality, of the idea and the ability to perceive yourself as something other than what is currently going on or what has already occurred. And having faith, having hope, having trust that what you envision for your future, what you envision for even a moment from now is going to be better, is the ultimate power that you could ever give to yourself. Because it is in that knowing and in that trust that you are able to properly facilitate this opening, this idea that you are not a person, that you are not just your experiences, your past, your family, your heritage, your culture. So what made technology? What made, because technology is in essence anything that is outside of us. So food is a technology, shelter is a technology, other people are technologies. So if we take into consideration like those basic fundamental things we need in order to exist and to live as we know to live as human species in a modern human being, if we take into consideration those things, then we must see that it's not something that is fundamentally us. And that resource that we go to external to us is not a resource that we see in ourselves. That resource that we continually reach out and go seek and attain or desire to acquire. Those things that we go outside to do are not being fulfilled or are not being perceived from an idea that you can fulfill that for yourself without having to reach out to others and reach out to you know, events and things and people, and take away from them what they need. What we need, we can provide for ourselves. And if we don't believe and trust and have faith that the resources that we need for peace and for comfort and for stability and nurturance and for health, for healthy life, if we believe all those resources are not internal and are somewhere out there, then we will perpetually become more dependent, more unsatisfied, more hungry for other people's resources. This is energy. I'm talking energy here. I'm talking consciousness. If you need somebody else's consciousness or intelligence from an external resource, an external technology, then it's not being efficient. You're not being efficient with your own consciousness to the ideal. I am talking ideals here. However, we can apply this into our lives directly. If we are consistently becoming more dependent on the external resources, then we are not becoming efficient and more and quicker and rapid and instantaneous of our own abilities and our own intelligence and our own sustenance. Because even if we do need something to eat, even if we do need shelter, we have the intelligence to be able to go find that. We don't need somebody else to tell us where and when and how to find those things. We don't. So if we trust ourselves and if we know that we are ultimately here as a portion of the Creator and a divine expression that the Creator wanted to express and that we agreed to express as a part of the Creator, and we are going to live that out, that portion and that life and that moment to the fullest extent and to the fullest efficiency of peace, harmony, joy, bliss, because that is the only thing that desire creates, is unity and is connection to itself, and to understand and love and appreciate and accept and just completely unite again with the self, with the other. And if we rely on technology, if we continuously rely on this gathering of information and this gathering of entertainment, of distractions, of continuous ideas and thoughts and desires, if there's not enough, if we don't get enough of that stuff, then we are going to continue our own seeking, and we're not going to see that what we are now is enough. What we are now has resources. What we are now has all the things we need, and we just have to choose that perspective, that timeline, that possibility, that probability, that potential, that reality. And we have to be that state of being. We have to be that being in order for us to really become the portion of the Creator that we are most joyful and proud and satisfied about, and the most loving that we are, and the most help we are to others. If we are not bringing value to others, then we're taking value from them. If we are not bringing value to others, we are taking it from them. So, how do we best bring value to others? We best bring value to others through the resources that we generate in ourselves, the resources that we perpetually are allowing ourselves to operate from. Those resources are your state of being. Those resources are your natural kind of places that you are operating from, and that those resources may not be the resources that are optimal for you. Because if you're living a life of misery, disturbance, pain, and suffering, then the resources you have are not cutting it. They're not efficient. They're not serving you, and therefore they're not serving others, because if you cannot pour from an empty cup. You have to be full. You have to be full of joy, wisdom, knowledge, truth. You have to be full of this, whatever it is that you want to share. And if you want to share, power, domination, control, then you're only going to get dominated, power, and controlled by others and by your thoughts. So if you want that, go for it. And that's going to take you on a path of highly dependent and highly necessary for you to use others' joy for your own joy, and take that joy and that value from others to make it valuable for yourself. And the idea that we are separate from all that we need is the basic primordial concept that has driven us to a state of such disconnection. And the more that we rely on technology, the more that we rely on things that are outside of us, then the more that we will have to perpetuate this longing, this desire. The more desirous we'll become, the more hungry we'll become, the more insatiable, the more desperate, the more disconnected we are going to become from each other, from our own resources, from our own intelligence, from our own conscious awareness, from our own presence, from our own understanding and our own love. Because if we need love from other people, then we are taking that love from others so you can have a portion of it for yourself. And that is a form of power, believe it or not. So if we continuously need to access more, acquire more, encumber more stuff, more resources, more information, more relationships, more experiences, more desires, then we are not in line with the eternal, immortal, ever-present resource that is infinite, that is constant, that is always already available to you as a master, as God. Because who created God was not you. You did not create God, you are God. You create God as you see fit. You create God in your own image, and God creates you in your own image. So if you are creating God in your own image, then how are you connecting to that highest source of intelligence? Are you connecting it through video games or internet or other people or drugs and alcohol or food and, you know, things that make you feel whole, complete, or even just like some kind of semblance of relaxed or ease or just like peaceful, if you feel that you are relying and ignoring your own greatness, then you probably are. And that's why you feel guilty about doing these things. That's why you feel guilty about continuously doing the things that you don't want to do, but you feel responsible to do them. And technology, the more we rely on that as a species, as an individual, the more that we will ultimately become separate from the resource that provided technology to us. And is human man-made technology, I say man-made quotes because I don't believe it's man-made, but anyway, I'll just give a quick background. We got technology and information from all other extraterrestrial races. So anyway, that ones that are more farther evolved than us, technologically speaking. And if is this simple question, I'll end with this. Is the man-made technology more intelligent than than consciousness, than human consciousness? Is technology more intelligent than the blueprints and the culminating and organizing force that created planets, solar systems, and galaxies? What is more intelligent? What are you tapping into? How do you feel when you tap into it? Thanks for watching, guys. Who made God?